So I want to talk you through sort of where I think where everyone's at right now. So if we think about where, what's bothering you right now in your ads campaign, I'm guessing that you're spending money on ads, but you're not getting the results you want. And for those of you that are in the chat, I want you to say yay or nay if this is you. I want you to sort of follow along if you think this is you, right? So it's probably bothering you, spending money on ads, but you're not getting results that you want. The second thing is, your ads may have been working before. You've done running ads, but they've stopped. They're just not working anymore. Or they started off really well and then they just died off, okay? Or they've never really worked at all. I've lost my screen. Come back to me. Or thirdly is you're stuck for ideas and you need help, all right? So these are sort of the three sort of frustrations that I think most people tend to have. But what you really want to get is you want ads that bring in profitable sales consistently, yeah? That's what we want. That's really the whole thing at the end of the day. How do we get ads that bring in profitable sales consistently? Anyone can bring you in sales unprofitably. I could do that all day, every day for you if you really want. But we want to have profitable sales consistently. That's what we're going to unpack today. How do we do that? The second thing that I know you're looking for is you want to have a way to scale your ads and your business. So it's not just about putting more money in to grow your business, to grow your ads. It's about scaling your business profitably. And I had a really good conversation with one of our elite members yesterday. Actually, no, it was at a business networking group I was at. And there's this crossover between marketing and advertising that people think that just spending money on ads is the way you market your business. That's just a tactic, right? That's just a way that you grow your business and get your advertising out there. It's not a marketing strategy, right? So what we want to make sure is that we're not mixing marketing and advertising. We're advertising to amplify our marketing, okay? So you don't just scale your business by spending money on ads. Ads is just the fuel for your business, and the rest of it is how you grow your business. And then thirdly, what you're looking for today is you want clear guidance on what you need to do, all right? We all agree that that's what we want, guidance, and hopefully I'm here to be that guide for you. Now, the biggest mistakes that I see people doing and where they're going wrong when it comes to optimizing their ads. The first mistake is they change and edit your ads too often, right? I see a few of you like putting your hands up in the air saying, yeah, that's me. Tim, I'm gonna get a little bit of a survey here for those that are in the chat. When you have an ad account, how regularly are you editing it? I'm gonna get you to write in the chat. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Tell me the amount of days, how frequently per day you're editing it. So if you're editing it every day, tell me 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Okay, so Emmy is every 7 days. I love this. Be honest with me. I don't mind. Alain is only when the data tells him. That's great. Lynn is 7 days. Okay, well, not as bad as we thought. Too scared to touch. Okay, this is good. You guys have obviously been in the program long enough. But I was talking to someone yesterday, and they're like, I go in like 3 times a day. I'm like, that is crazy. You can go in 3 times a day if you're getting 10,000 visits a day, right? But if you're getting 10,000 visits a month, you can't be going in all the time. So it's definitely based on volume, because the ad account needs time to learn, needs time to do things. But that's not just the ad account. There's external factors, right? If I'm at work on a Wednesday and I see your ad, but I don't have my credit card on me, and I want to go in and then I'm assessing my ad account on that day, the person that was looking at the ad may not be ready to buy. So if we change it based on what they're doing in the day, then it's just not going to work. All right. So don't edit your ads too often. That's the first thing. All right. The second mistake that people are making is that you don't have a consistent method to learn and test. Okay. You don't have a consistent method to learn and test. A lot of people just go in their ad account, they look at the numbers, and they go, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to try anything, right? I'm going to turn that off, start that, throw another ad in, and there's no real methodology behind what you need to do and how you need to test it, okay? That's the biggest mistake that I see people make. Maybe another one to that, which I didn't write in this, is they take too many different pieces of advice and try and push it into one rather than following a consistent method. So if we're always changing the way we test and assess, then we're never going to get consistent results because we're continually moving the goalpost. So today I want to give you a goalpost that you can work towards and consistently optimize your account for. And the final thing is you blame the platform for why your ads don't work. If I was given $1 for every time someone said, our Facebook ads don't work, right? I would be much, much more wealthy, right? So we don't blame the platform. The platform is not the reason the ads don't work. It's the way you're leveraging the platform. Okay, it's the way you're using the platform. But it may not be the platform. It may be your product. It may be your ad. It may be your offer. It may be your website. And so we're going to unpack all those things today to see where the problem actually is. The platform is just a tool for you to get your message out there. If the message doesn't match or the product market fit doesn't match, then it doesn't matter what platform you put it on. Okay, that's what we're really going to unpack today. Is this resonating with everyone? Yeah? Okay, cool. So I want you to think about something, and I want you to really think about this messaging. And this is how I live my life. Well, not my life, but I think about it a little bit like this. Running ads gives you the data, or data for my Aussies. The data gives you direction. Okay? Running ads gives you data, and the data gives you direction. Really, really important to think like that. Okay? We can't optimize, we can't test, we can't do anything until we understand the data in our account. Okay? So it's not a zero-sum game where ads work, ads don't work. That's never the case. The ads will always tell, or the ad platform will always tell you something that you can learn, and it can give you the direction on where you need to go next. Now that direction might be increase my ad spend, decrease my ad spend. The direction might be try new ads, amplify those ads. It might be, where am I sending my traffic to? What does my website look like? Is my offer any good? But the data is going to tell you all those things. Okay, and then it's going to tell you the action that you need to take from it. Okay, is this making sense to everyone? Just give me a comment if it is. Good, good. Are we liking this? Feeling the way we're going here? Yeah. All right, so data gives you direction. It's the thing I really want you to want. If there's anything you can take home, data's giving you direction. And the only way we get data is to run ads or run traffic or actually test it out, okay? We're not going to know how fast we can run until we actually run. We're not going to know how fast we can do a lap until we do the lap. Right? It's the same with ads. We're not going to know whether ads are going to work or not, or why they are or not working until we actually do it. Okay, so let's assume you're running ads. Okay, this is sort of what tends to happen when a purchase funnel comes into play. So we have this is a pretty typical purchase funnel from an e-commerce store. The first thing happens is someone views your ad. Okay, and that ad could be anywhere. It could be on Meta, could be on Google, could be on TikTok, could be on Pinterest, but they see your ad. The second thing they do is they click the ad and they go to your store. Okay, if this is in a perfect world, the ad's great, they love it, sounds good, we click the ad, we go to the store, everybody's happy. Then what happens is they decide they add to cart, I like this product, all sounds pretty good, add to cart, and then they make a purchase, right? A very simple purchase funnel. Now, when we think about the purchase funnel, this is actually broken up into two separate areas. And this is really important to know when optimizing our ads. The first area is your ad platform, okay? This is where you control whether someone views your ad or whether they click to go to your store. The second one is your website, okay? So these are two different areas that we need to optimize to get there. What you can see here is your ad platform does not make a purchase. It contributes to the purchase journey. However, when most people assess their ad accounts, they're like, well, I'm not getting sales out of it, so the ad account must be broken. But if you have a look at this here, the viewing your ads to making a purchase, they're actually on two separate platforms. So we need to consider that when we're optimizing our ads. Okay? Is this a little bit of a realization for people to think a little bit differently about the way we need to assess and analyze our data? Yeah? So all of these parts of the funnel have different actions and activities and measurements that we can go by. Okay? So let's get a little bit nerdy. We're going to get to know the data here. This is very important. Okay? So cost per result is something that we use as our guiding light. So in order to optimize, you need to have something to optimize for. Okay? For optimizing something, we need to optimize for something. Now, a purchase and a sale is just an outcome of the activity that you do. So if we go back to the purchase funnel, the purchase is at the end of the funnel. And that's an outcome of all the activity that's happened before it. So what we need to do is we need to optimize our business to the data that's happening before it. Now, the way we measure that is we determine how much is it costing us to get a customer, okay? So how much are you going to actually pay for your customer? So this is the guiding light that we like to use when we want to optimize our ad account. We want to work out, if we get a customer, how much is that customer costing us? And that's going to tell us the efficiency of our ad campaign. And we're going to work through what your cost per result is shortly for everyone. And everyone's cost per result is completely different because your business is different. And I'll jump into that shortly. So the main metric I want you to think about is cost per result. Sometimes this is called cost per acquisition or CPA. Sometimes it's called CAC, CAC, things like that. Or sometimes it is cost per conversion. So they're all the same thing. It's basically saying how much am I prepared to pay or how much am I paying to get myself a customer? And the way I like to think about this is, let's just say you were at a market. Let's think you had a virtual market. And you went to the market, and just before you got into the market, the person who runs the market says, I've got a whole heap of customers here for you and you can buy them off me. And so you've got 100 customers and you can buy them and they're going to cost you $50. Every time you want a new customer, you give me $50, I'll give you a customer. It's a fair exchange and that customer will buy from you. We promise you, we guarantee it. Now let's just say you're selling a product that is worth $50 and he's saying your customers are $50. Would you buy those? Would you buy those customers? You probably wouldn't because it's the same price that the person pays. So if he then come to you and said, you know what? I can give you customers for $10. And you go, great, that makes sense. Now I can buy that customer from you. Okay, so this is the market that we're working in when it comes to cost per acquisition. Now, let's just say, you were spending $100, your AOV was $100 and customers were costing you $10. What would you then do? Right? You'd buy as many customers as you possibly can until it doesn't make any sense. That's what we do. Okay? So it's a trading game. It's basically, we put money in the cash machine and if the customer's value makes sense, we buy them. Okay? This is a little bit different about cost per result. You may have heard terms like ROAS and MER. There are other metrics that we can go by, right? Everyone has a different metric to go by. I believe cost per result is the best because we can actually know tangibly based on our business how much we're actually paying to acquire a customer and whether it's profitable or not. We've got a calculation. We're going to help you with that. Okay? So we want to work out how much can we afford to buy customers for. The great thing about this metric is we can then go to any platform and we know how much we can afford to buy our customers off that platform for. Because at the end of the day, every platform is just an auction house that we're buying customers off. Okay? So we go to Google, we know how much we can afford to buy a customer off them. We go to Meta, we know how much afford to buy a customer over them. Is this useful for you guys? Write in the comments if you are finding this useful. Notice I haven't even jumped in an ad platform yet. Just a heads up, I'm not going to be in an ad platform today, right? Because the ad platform is not the thing that matters, the data is the thing that matters. Okay, awesome. We're getting lots of yeses in the chat. All right, let's keep going. So there's some key metrics and data that we need to know. The first few are, we need to understand how much we're spending on our ads, okay? So that's the first thing. How much are we spending and what is being used? How much is the platform how much are we paying on the platform is the first one. The second thing, and this is specifically for meta ads, what's the frequency that our customers are seeing our ads or our prospects are seeing our ads? What's the frequency? Okay. The next one is what's the CTR? That is the click-through rate. So of the people who see the ad, how many of them are actually clicking the ad? Okay, the click-through rate. Then the next metric is called CPM. That stands for cost per milli, which is the French word for thousand. I believe, Elaine, you're a Canadian, you should know your French. The French word for 1,000. And basically we're saying how much are we paying to get 1,000 views is our CPM. And your CVR is your conversion rate. These are the only metrics we need to think about right now at the level we're all at. Okay, so if we're sort of under this $10,000 a month, even under $100,000 a month, you actually don't need to look at metrics outside of this, right? So there's thousands of other metrics, but these are the ones that matter, and these are the ones that are going to move your needle, and the only ones I want you to think about. So CVR is conversion rate. So let's break these down a little bit on what they actually mean. Okay, so when we think about spend, when we think about data, we want to put our data into tangible outcomes so we know what we can do with it, okay? And how they impact our business. So spend is a signal for ad to audience fit. What I mean by that is if you're putting an ad up there and no money's being spent, then it means that no one's looking at it, right? Which means there's no ad to audience fit. Okay, so if the money's not being spent, no one's looking at the ad, then the ad is terrible. If the money's being spent, then we've got a good ad to audience fit. That's the first sort of metric. We'll deep dive into this stuff in a moment. Frequency is how often the ad is seen. Okay, so if you look at the frequency metric in your ads, If someone's seeing the ad once, okay, your frequency metric is going to be 1. If they're seeing it twice, it's going to be 2. If they're seeing it sort of, on average over 1,000 people, everyone's seeing it 1 to 2 times, your frequency might be 1.5. Okay, so frequency is a really important metric because it lets us know if we're showing it to new people or existing people. We'll talk about why that's important shortly as well. All right, the CTR is your click-through rate. So if someone's now seeing your ad, are they actually clicking the ad? Okay, so we're working through the funnel here if you think about what we said before. Okay, are people clicking your ad? CPM, cost per 1,000 views. So that's basically, how much are we spending for every 1,000 people that have seen your ad? And then the CVR, conversion rate, is are people actually buying your thing? Okay, pretty straightforward now that you sort of see it like this. But what does this actually mean? Okay, what happens if any of these metrics aren't at the level that we want them to be? This is what we need to do. Oh, I might move my little head out of the way. Give me a sec. I'll jump over this side. Oh, I'll go at the top. That's more fun. All right. So if your spend isn't any good, right? It's below what. So what I mean by that. If your spend is, say, you're spending $50 a day and Facebook's only spending $25 of that, that means it doesn't have a good ad to audience fit, right? That's what that one means. So what do we need to do then? You've got to create better ads, right? That's your first metric, okay? So we're going to go downwards here. Now, if the frequency is, and we'll talk, frequencies have some nuances to it, so we'll talk about it a little bit more. But if the frequency is not where you want it to be, then you're going to need different style of ads, okay? So not better ads, just different ads, okay? Different style one. If the click-through rate is not happening, if you've got a low click-through rate, and we sort of say sub 1.5%, anything below that is a low click-through rate, then you need to have a clear call to action. Have a reason for them to click. Okay? Now, the CPM's a signal to determine whether you're in the right market. Okay? So it helps you calculate your budget. So if you're in a market, and this is a little bit of maths we're going to do here. Let's just say you're in a market where you have really high CPMs. So let's just say we have a market where our CPMs are $50 for 1,000 views. Okay? And our budget is $50. Then it means we're only going to get our ad shown to 1,000 people. So if we work our way back, that we say our ad is shown to 1,000 people and we get a 1% click-through rate, okay, we're only going to get 100 clicks. Now, of those clicks, how many of them are actually going to buy? We're probably going to have a conversion rate of 2%, which might be 20. So if everything goes well, that might work, but that's in a beautiful scenario. Now, our goal is to be in a market that has a low CPM, which is not always easy, but CPM determines how many views we're going to get. So it determines how far our budget's going to go. Does this make sense to you guys? Right? So CPM is a great measure to know, do you have the right budget to be where you need to be. And then conversion rate is, are people buying? If you have a low conversion rate of your ads, improve your website is a simple answer, but I do have a little breakdown of some nuances around that as well. Okay. How are you finding this so far, Tim? I'd love to hear in the chat what you're loving and what you're learning right now. It's a little bit of a different sort of pace to what I'd usually do. All right, Elaine loves this. Jordana says it's very good. Angela says it's great. Love the analysis and how to address each factor. Andrew loves the different metrics. Okay, let's rock and roll. Let's keep moving. We got a bit to power through. All right, so let's go to the next piece of this. So in order to get, actually I'll pop back. Where do we find this data, right? Where is it found? So if we think about our meta ads, when we go into our meta ads manager, we are presented with some default sets of information. And some of the things I've mentioned here, you're not going to be able to see, right? So you're probably in there and going, what the heck? I don't know where this click-through rate thing is. I don't know where this frequency piece is, right? So what we need to do is we need to set up a meta ads account so that we can analyze the data easily and quickly, all right? And there's a feature called customize columns if you haven't done this before. So I'm going to show you where to do that. Now, if you go into your meta ads manager and click up the top, you're going to see a section which is called columns, right? And you can screenshot this at the end and do it after the call if you like. But we have a thing that's called columns. What you can actually do is you can customize the columns to views that you like. So when you go to columns, I want you then click customize columns at the bottom there. Okay, so if you can see that there, we're going to click customize columns. Once you click customize columns, this is how I want you to set it up. I'll send you guys this so you got it later. But basically, we want to be able to set up all those columns on the right-hand side. So if you can see, they relate to what we just sort of said about. We've got budget, which is the spend. We've got results, which is your purchases. We've got reach, which is your impressions. Sorry, not your impressions. Reach is how many people are seeing it. Amount spent is how much people are spending. Impressions is your views. Frequency, as we know, we talked about cost per result and click-through rate. Okay, so I'll send you through this. We'll put this in the boot camp for you guys. So you've got it, you can reference it. But I want you to build out these columns because if you need to analyze your account, you just need to see these all in one super easy to read spot. Okay, so once you've set up your columns like that and ordered them all in a nice place, then we want to make sure that we save the column as a preset. So see down the bottom there, there's this little checkbox. We want to save that column as a preset. I called it bootcamp, but you guys can call it whatever you like. It's just so that you can reference it when you're choosing your columns. So this is going to give you quick access to your data, and then you can at least look at and analyze and pull it all out. Okay, this is helpful for you guys seeing the columns there. Yep. These are only the ones you're going to need, and as you get a little bit more advanced, you might throw your own ones in there. There's additional columns that we like as we really get deep and dirty into the ads, but for now, these are the only ones you're going to need. All right, so let's move on, okay? And I want you to think about something. To optimize an ad account, you need to know what you're optimizing for. A little bit like what I said to the CPA. Because everyone's business is different. Everyone's business is completely different, so we can't optimize the same. This is why everyone says, what's the benchmark of what should my ROAS be? Right? I can't answer that. Only you can answer that because only you have your own business. You have your own business economics. Great e-commerce businesses know their numbers intimately, and they know their numbers and how it's going to work for them. Remember, it's a cash machine. If you're selling a product for $100 and someone's selling a product for $20, your metrics are going to be completely different, right? They're going to be completely different. So what we're going to do is we're going to unpack this now and I'm going to give you the maths so you can work out what your metric is, okay? So as I said, we optimize for CPA. CPA stands for cost per acquisition, cost per result, whatever we want to call it. So the way I calculate CPA is like this. We've got your product, which is your sell price. So, in our world, we were talking about $100 is the price that you sell the product for. What we then do is we minus the cost of the goods for that product, right? So how much does the product cost you? We minus the variable costs, and this is in a single order. So think about this as a single order, okay? The variable costs are things like your merchant fees, your shipping fees, any pick pack fees, any like packaging, things like that. And then we minus a percentage of your fixed costs, which is your operating expenses, okay? So that's what goes into the economics of your order. Once we understand that, then we're going to understand what our net profit dollars are, so the money that we get to keep, and then a percentage of that should be our CPA, okay? And our CPA helps us determine what our ad spend is. Is this making sense to everybody so far? So it's pretty basic unit economics. But if we don't know this, we should never be... If we don't know this, don't spend money on ads because you're going to waste your money, okay? There's no point going into ads blind and being like, I'm just going to spend $100. But if you don't know how to measure whether or not they're working profitably for you, then there's no point spending any money. So this is a very, very important metric. It's one that when someone says, my ad account's not working, I say, well, what's your CPA? And they have no idea, right? Their CPA target. So let's do this numerically for you. Okay, so let's assume we've got a $100 product, okay? We're selling it for $100, 100 euros, 100 pounds, wherever you are. The cost of the goods is $25, okay? The variable costs are $10. Fixed costs we average out maybe $15 an order, right? As a percentage of overall. So we're saying that our fixed costs are 15% of our revenue. That then gives us a net profit of say $50, okay? And then we say of that $50, how much are we prepared to spend on marketing? How much are we prepared to give away to get a new customer? And I've just said 50% here, but that's just a number I just made up, right? Everyone's business is completely different. They can spend 100% of their profit to acquire customers. They could spend 25% of their profit to acquire customers, okay? So in this world, we're just saying it's $25 CPA. So this is where that sort of market exchange comes into play, where we say, how much can you afford to buy a customer for, okay? So this is where margins actually win at all costs. So if you look at back into this business here, we've got some pretty good margins here. This is a 75% gross margin on this product, right? So it's only $25 cost of goods. So 75% gross margin, it's 50% net margin. Like, it's pretty good business, right? These metrics are good. Now, I'm sure if you run your numbers through these metrics, you might not be as good as this, okay? Which means even at 100%, you might not get a $25 CPA. So what this means is you're only as good as your margin in order to compete in a market. So if you're in Meta ads and you can only afford $10 to acquire a customer, but the rest of your market can afford $20 to buy a customer, then you're going to be outpriced within the market because it's a market game. So that's why having a great margin unit economics wins if you want to play the game of paid ads. Is this landing for you guys? Yeah? All right. So you should always be optimizing for margin to give you enough profit to be able to acquire customers to grow your business. Okay, cool. So this is a really good margin business. Now, this person's spending 50% of their CPA to grow their business, and they're keeping 50% per order. Now, this is, like I said, this is a pretty well-oiled business. This is an ideal model. Now, if you're a little bit lower than this, where, say, your cost of goods was $50, we come back down, we probably only have $15 CPA. Now, it doesn't mean we can't play the game. We just need to be aware of that, right? Now, the other thing to consider here is if you're willing to pay up to $25 per customer, and your budget per day is $25, how many customers are you going to get per day? You're only going to get one customer per day. So this CPA helps you set your budget, right? We recommend your ad spend should be at least 2 times your CPA target. So in this instance, our starting ad spend would be about $75, okay, per day, per channel. Because that gives the algorithm enough money to go and do the thing we want it to do, okay? Not $75, it's different, $62.50. Maths on the fly. All right, so 2.5 times. Okay, is this sounding good to everyone? We're feeling good? Great. All right, so let's start with optimization. Actually, should we start learning how to optimize now? I've given you the laydown. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so I want you to think about this. We just spoke about this. I've sort of given you the answer to this, but if your cost per result is lower than your target, increase your budget. Why is that? Because we're getting customers cheaper than we can afford to pay them for. So we just keep buying customers till they're too expensive. If you go down the store and there's a pair of Nike shoes that are usually $100 and you're getting for $50, Nike shoes is probably not the right idea. You'd buy 2 pairs, right? Because they're half the price. So you want to work out how much can you buy a customer for, and the person to buy the customer for the cheapest with the biggest margin will always win. Okay? If you can buy the customer cheap and you've got a good margin, you can buy customers all day, every day, and just keep putting money in the machine. That's the secret to scaling. But obviously, it's not as easy as just putting numbers on a spreadsheet. So yeah, if your cost per result is lower than your target, increase the budget. If it's higher, we've got to optimize. So I want to go through these metrics here. If we think about that table I showed you before, we talked about amount spent. Okay, so amount spent, we're going to go a little bit through how we can actually do this. So actually, before I do that, what we want to do is if we think about the funnel where we talked about, we went amount spent, we went frequency, we went click-through rate, we went CPM, and we went CVR, okay? We want to actually move through that process to optimize. We shouldn't be optimizing for, say, click-through rate if we're not spending the entire budget. So we want to start from the top of the funnel or purchase funnel to the bottom of the purchase funnel. There's no point optimizing for something down the bottom if the thing at the top's not working. So we're going to go through the order that you need to optimize in, okay? So the first thing we need to look at when we're optimizing any account is the campaign spending the budget we're giving it? If we're giving it $50 a day, is it spending $50 a day? That's the first place we start. And then we can move on, okay? Because if it's not spending the $50 a day, that's where the problem is. We're not spending enough money to get the spend. And actually, it's interesting. I just sent a message to Gab, who's on the call, this morning. And I'm like, we just launched a campaign and it's not spending any money. So there's something wrong, right? There's no point in me looking at click-through rate, all that sort of stuff, if there's something wrong at the top of the campaign. So you've got to start somewhere. So we want to start at the amount spent, okay? So if the budget you have set is not being spent fully, then it means that your ads are not being served to the right people, okay? Or your ad account is misconfigured. That could be the one as well, right? So it means your ad is not being served to the right people. So let me unpack that a little bit. If we give Meta $50 a day, $100 a day, whatever it is, and you say, go out and find me some people, Meta, and it goes out to find the people. Actually, let me revert a little bit. We say, go out and find the people, Meta, but I want you to find these types of people. I want you to find people that live in Melbourne that wear black hats and like to drink coffee and is into Formula One, right? We're really specific. Like, okay, cool, I can find you 50 people, right? Okay, I've done that. I found you 50 people. It only cost me $10, okay? Because I found you the audience that you need. Or we then say, okay, Meta, go out and find me people, and this is the ad that I want you to use to find those people. And it goes, great, give me the ad. I'm going to go put that ad up on a wall, and 1,000 people are going to walk past it. Okay? But that picture on the wall is not very good. So the people that walk past it don't look at it, right? They're not going to spend any money. I'm only going to take your money when someone looks at the picture. So this is the same sort of metric around. If it's not spending your money, it means either you're targeting the wrong audience or the ad isn't good enough. Is this making sense to you guys? Yeah? If it is spending the money, then those things are true. Okay? Is this helpful? Great. All right. So the action out of this is if it's not being spent, I've given you an action on how to optimize, then you just got to create different ads, right? So the ads, I probably should write, create different ads and go broad. So I'm obviously teaching here for how we teach in the bootcamp. We don't put audience segments in or interest targeting in. Okay, so that's part of our thing. The old way of doing it was to do interest targeting, but that's changed. If you're doing interest targeting, the second action here is remove interest targeting and go broad and let the ad find the audience. Okay? So action here is if the amount isn't being spent at the level that you've given it, then we need to create different ads. Now, if we're not sure what ads to create, there is a really awesome tool out there which is called the Meta Ads Library. Does anyone know what the Meta Ads Library is? Yeah, a few of you do. Hey Gab, if you wouldn't mind, could you put in the chat a link to the ads library, please? So the Meta Ads Library is really awesome. It's like snooping on your competitors. Basically what you do is you go in there and you go to your competitor, you type in the brand name of your competitor, you click it and it shows them all the ads that they are using, okay? And the secret to this is looking at the ad that they've been running the longest. So it tells you that all the dates and when the ad was launched. So let's just say I was looking at one of our competitors and I look at their ads and they've had an ad running for 4 or 5 months. Theoretically, that's a good ad and it's working. So what we then do is take inspiration from that and we start creating ads like that. That's our starting point, okay? So if you're stuck for ad ideas, just go to your competitors, look at the ads library, look at what they've been running for more than 1 or 2 months, and then take some inspiration from that. Super quick, easy way to do it, all right? Because in theory, that's going to get an audience. Is that helpful, team? Super straightforward way of doing it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't try and be too clever. So that's if the amount's spent. So let's just say the amount is being spent. It's like, Brendan, they're spending all my money. I'm still not getting any sales. Let's go to the next step in the funnel. The next step is frequency, okay? So frequency determines a few things. So if the frequency is high, then that means that the same people are seeing your ad, okay? So if your frequency is close to 2 plus frequency level, it means that the same people are seeing your ad multiple times. And we call this like a retargeting or bottom of funnel style ad, okay? So Meta's determined that the same sort of people are seeing this and it's not attracting a brand new audience. So it's showing it to the new people. So if it's high frequency, it's a signal that this is a retargeting ad, it's lower down the funnel. If the frequency is low, however, that means that on average, some people are seeing your ad once. It means that it's spreading itself out to new audiences, okay? Because every time the ad is shown, it's someone new that's seeing it. So the frequency is high. And we call that prospecting. So the ad here now determines the place in the funnel that it is. So if we think about a purchase funnel, you've got someone who's at the top of the funnel that doesn't know about your brand, and that's called top of funnel or prospecting. And then you've got other people who are at the bottom of the funnel who know about your brand but may not have purchased, and we call that retargeting or bottom of funnel, right? This is really important to know because when we run broad audiences like we do in the bootcamp, the ad is the thing that determines where the funnel is that they're in, okay? So if it's an ad that attracts a brand new audience, a style of ad that, introduces them to your product, it's going to be going out and finding new people. Where if it's an ad that is a little bit more descriptive, a little bit more call to action-y, sometimes it can be a bit more retargeting, okay? A little bit different in the way we're thinking here. So we're using the ad to find the audience at the stage they are in the funnel, as opposed to the interest targeting and the engagement groups, okay? So a little bit more optimizing I don't know, I was going to use a funny word there, but I don't know how to say it. So I'm going to give you 2 examples here. I want you guys to gauge, all right, which part of the funnel you believe these ads are in and why. So I'm going to play the first one. This is from our brand, okay? So this first ad is one that we were running for a little while. And I'll drink a coffee while it's running because it's making me want one. Okay. Where do we think in the funnel this one is, team? write that in the chat for me, please. Where do we think in the funnel this is? Top of funnel, bottom of funnel, prospecting. What do we think? Is this getting new customers or existing customers? Okay, a few people are writing left is, so it's prospecting top, prospecting top. Well done, you guys are great. It's absolutely prospecting. And why? Because it's introducing something new to people that they've never seen before, right? We're not making any assumptions that they know what it is. We're introducing it and telling them all about it, right? There's no assumptions whatsoever. We're showing them the product. And absolutely, this was top of funnel. I looked at the stats. This is like a 1.01 frequency this ad had. Okay, so really, really good. So well done, team. What about the second ad? I think you know the answer to this, but anyway, the second ad, tell me what that is. Second ad is a testimonial. I absolutely love Dosed. It's so convenient. As a busy mum of 2 toddlers, I'm able to quickly make a cup of coffee quality in the comfort of my own home. Bottom of funnel. Absolutely. It's the bottom of the funnel. Why is that? Because we're making the assumption that people already know what this thing is, right? All they're seeing is a black bottle, could be a bottle of Coca-Cola, but it's not, right? So we're assuming that people know this brand already, because otherwise it's just this weird bottle of a testimonial that it makes no sense, right? We're not introducing the type of product, we're talking about how good the product is. So we're taking them from introducing them in that first ad to now showing them a retargeting ad. Is this helpful, team, what we're learning here? Yeah? Now, do you think we should run prospecting ads or bottom of funnel ads? Okay, type in the chat, which ones do you think we should run? Top of funnel or bottom of funnel ads? Prospecting, both. Yes, you should absolutely run both, right? Because we need to move people through the funnel. One ad alone is not going to work because they have different purposes. Okay, so it's really important to know this, right? We're driving people through the funnel and we're using different ad creative to do it. All right. So the action on this one is if you're having, you have to look at the type of frequency you're looking for. So if all your ads have a bottom of funnel frequency, so a high frequency of 2+, then it means that all your ads are going to the same people and you're selling to the same people all the time, right? So if that's where you want to play, that's absolutely up to you. This is up to you what you want to do. If you want to go out and find a bucket load of new customers, you've got to create ads that have a low frequency, right? So now you want to determine which do you want to target. Now, I believe targeting both is more important, okay? But targeting both means that you need to spend double your budget. So this is where we've got to consider because the budget's at a per campaign level, okay? Now, customers are going to cost you more at the top of funnel than they are at the bottom of funnel, but if we blend them together, so let's just say in that scenario where $25 was our CPA, they might cost us $35 top of funnel, but they might only cost us $15 bottom of funnel. And so if we blend that, our cost per acquisition is the $25. Is this making sense? Okay, a little bit of an analytical thing. People that are following along at home, tell me what you're learning here. I'd love to hear in the chat in the comments, please. What are we learning? What's 1 or 2 things we can implement straight away? Elaine writes, so the top and bottom ads should be implemented in different campaigns. Yes and no. You can test both, right? If you want to get started, you can put them in one campaign. That's absolutely fine. Yep. And as you get bigger and bigger and bigger, you probably separate them out. Cool. I love that you guys are learning a lot. This is awesome. All right, so let's just say we nail our frequency, okay? Let's say our frequency is nailed. It's spending the money, it's going to the right amount of people. But damn, Brendan, we're still not getting any results. What's going on? All right, let's find out what the next metric is we need to look at. The next metric is click-through rate. And we've got Gab again. Sorry, Gab, I'm making your ads because they're so good. So click-through rate. So we're now going further down the funnel. They've spent the money, they've seen the ad, and they are not clicking. Why are they not clicking? So click-through rate determines whether after someone sees your ad, they want to buy, learn more, or take action. So a low click-through rate is under 1%. And that means your ad does not give a good enough reason to click, okay? So if you have a low click-through rate, have you given the person a reason to click? So the action is add a CTA or, this is really important, or create curiosity, right? Give them a reason to be like, wow, this is really interesting. I'm gonna find out more about this. So what we've noticed is that sometimes if you openly say, click my thing, they don't click your thing because people aren't being told what to do. But if you make them feel like they're taking the action, then they'll take the action. So we've tested a number of different ad styles where it's like, try a call to action at the end, or ask for a call to action. If you really like this coffee, click now to get your favorite, blah, 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 right? They don't necessarily work as well. Not to say they don't work for everyone. This is part of your testing, okay? So what we try and do is create a little bit of curiosity. So I'll play this one with Gab here and see if this would encourage you to click.
If you're someone who uses coffee pods, stop scrolling, talking to you. You need to stop now because dose is here. It's a liquid in coffee concentrate that holds 15 doses of coffees in this little compact bottle, and you get full body flavor. It's so smooth. It is not gritty. It doesn't leave a lingering taste. It's so great. You need to try it. You don't need any equipment, anything fancy. This bad boy and some milk, and you got your cafe, coffee. Every single time whenever you need it.
What do you guys think about that ad, right? It's a great ad, Gab. Thank you. So it's great, right? It's perfect because it tells you all about the product and it creates curiosity. And it's like, what is this thing? And then it makes people want to click. So this was one of our highest click-through rate ads, which is why I put it on there, okay? Highest click-through rate ad. So it's awesome. And you know what? I know Gab's a pro at this, but like you can do this pretty quickly with a camera. There was no fancy equipment, no nothing like that. It was just a script, a camera, recording, throw it into CapCut. We're good to go. All right. Yeah. Gab just mentioned she can't listen to herself anymore. Sorry, Gab. All right. Awesome. So yeah, if we think about that, that's an ad that creates a great click-through rate, right? So it doesn't need to be buy my thing now. Yeah, we good? Feeling good about this? Is this opening up your thought process a little bit more? 100%. All right. Cool. Let's move on to the next one. Let's just say we do get them to click, right? So Brendan, we're doing everything. They're clicking. My ads are awesome. And then we get to this stage, conversion rate, which is your results. So this is the end of the funnel. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, okay? It gets a little bit tricky because this is where we've now left the ad platform. So if we think about that original funnel we talked about, we were in control of the ads, we're doing all the cool things, we're getting the click-through rates, getting impressions, we're targeting the right audience. They click it and they get to the website and like, I don't really know about this, right? Now this is where the ad platform is irrelevant. Well, there's a slight relevance, we'll talk about that in a second, but is less relevant to what's happening after ad, okay? So the ad platform has done its job. It's sent them straight to the place. So this is what we have to think about, okay? If your conversion rate is low, there is many reasons for this. And this is a whole nother topic that we might do a masterclass on one day. If your conversion rate is low, then it means A, your ad does not match your website. Okay? So this is something we can do in the ad platform, which is something we teach in bootcamp. Don't drive your ads to your homepage. Okay? If we think about what we're trying to do in the purchase funnel, we're going to take them from view the ad, click the ad, add to cart. So where should we be sending them to? Yeah, where should we be sending them to? As close to the product as humanly possible, right? Which is the product page. Or the collection page if you've got a collection of the same style of products. Do not throw them to your homepage. So if right now you're having a low conversion rate and you're driving to your homepage, that is the first fix that we do. Take them closer to the product page, okay? Very, very important. Get them as close as humanly possible, because if they land on the homepage, they then have to find the product you were talking about, and that's too much friction. We're trying to reduce the amount of friction here. All right, the second thing is your offer is not appealing. If you're not converting, then your offer is not appealing. Maybe people just aren't that into you, right? Your offer's not appealing. Maybe they're just not into you. So we test the offer. The offer might be, maybe our price is wrong. Maybe our value proposition is wrong. Maybe we're too expensive. Maybe we're too cheap. People are like, I don't want to buy this. It's just like, it looks like crap. So the offer is the thing now. This is really, really super important, okay? Is your offer appealing? And these are all different things that we need to test, okay? The third thing is your website's maybe not optimized, right? Maybe your shipping proposition's too high. Maybe it costs you too much. Maybe they don't ship to your area. Maybe you don't have a size guide on there. Maybe they don't know, maybe you've got no returns policy. Maybe, it takes 3 weeks to get delivered. Maybe there's no guarantee. Maybe there's no warranty, right? Maybe there's no proof that someone else has bought your product. Maybe the confidence isn't there. Maybe there's no support, right? There's reason why they might not want to buy from you. I might not trust you, okay? Your website might not be optimized, okay? Or, for those that are just starting out, this is a hard realization, really hard realization. You may not have a product market fit, right? Your product just might suck. Sorry. Sometimes they just do. I've had people that I've said, hey, you know what? Your product, clearly no one wants it, right? But we don't know that until we run the ads and get them to this stage. So what do we do there? We tweak and twist and turn and do things and try and either make our product better. If we truly believe that it solves a problem and you're unique and it's a reason that someone want to buy from you, then we fix it and we learn that, okay, we've done all these other things. Now do we twist our product around? Okay. Really important. Is this helpful for you guys thinking like this? Yeah. Now, if you do believe that your product is great, yeah, that's great. You got to ask other people, but don't you necessarily have to do ads to do that. Okay. Cool. So action. Sorry if I'm dropping some truth bombs here, but it's really important. The action is review your website, review your offer, review your product. Okay. If someone's not buying something, it's not the ad's fault. Okay. That's what I'm trying to get to. It's not the ad's fault. There's all other things that come into play, right? But from the product market fit, if people are buying your product, right, for other channels, but not through the ads channel, then it's the thing in between that we need to fix, which is what we've been talking about, all those parts of the funnel. All right? Cool. We have one member who's in the program now, and I think she had this same problem where it went from start to finish and got lots of clicks but no purchases, made some tweaks and got purchases. And the tweaks were, look at your value proposition, look at your price, show them what they're buying, make sure it makes sense. So if you feel that that's the case, what I'd get you to do is show your site to, say, 10 of your friends or 10 people you don't even know and say, would you buy this thing? And if not, why not? Okay, instantly. And they'll tell you honestly, say, be super honest with me, right? And they'll tell you, oh, I don't really know what you're selling. What is that thing? Because sometimes we get so close to our product, we forget that when someone's seeing it for the first time, they may not want to buy it. Okay, so really, really important. Get people to review your site. One thing that could be useful is maybe in the boot camp, you can post your thing in there and say, hey, look, I'm not getting any conversions. Can I get some feedback on my site? And develop this little site review council. Okay. Really, that's why we have this community, so you guys can help each other out. So if you feel like you're just not sure why your site's not converting, this is the group that you can post it in, and they're going to help you with that. All right, team. Cool. Hopefully this is helpful so far. Write in the comments what's something you're learning on today's call so far. What's something you're learning? Awesome. Okay. All right, team. Let's land the plane. All right. Let's land this plane. So we've gone through the whole sort of funnel here. We've gone from setting up our target CPA. We sort of know how much we should be spending on ads. We then have a look and see where in the funnel we've got a leak, right? Or we got it that budget's not being spent the wrong audience. Have we got it that it's going to the wrong person for the ad type? That the ad's just not clickable or the website's just a little bit average, right? So that's the funnel we're going through. So this is something that you do on repeat. We don't just do it. It's not a start to finish, oh, it's done, my game's over. This is like, okay, what have we learned from the data? So we're going to learn from that and we're going to make some decisions based on the things I just taught you before. So this is where we go into what we call an optimization cycle, okay? Or a testing cycle, whatever you want to call it, okay? So the testing cycle looks a little bit like this. First thing is we launch an ad using the training that we've provided, okay? The 3-2-2 method, pretty straightforward. We're all pretty comfortable with that right now. We then need to, let me change my screen. Launch the ad using our training. Then we then need to wait 7 to 14 days, please, people. Don't assess your account after 3 days. It ain't ready, right? 7 to 14 days. We need to give the algorithm and the audience time to learn, okay? Then we need to use the data to give direction. And those directions are we spending the right money? Are we getting the impressions we need? Are we getting the frequency we need? Are we getting the click-through rate? And that leads us in the direction that we need to action, okay? Once we lead in that direction, we then make the changes to improve that data point. This is the important part about it. So let's just say we run an ad and we determine that the click-through rate's really low, okay? Then what we do is say, great, that's the thing we want to focus on. We want to focus on improving click-through rates. So we make some hypotheses, we look at our competitors, we look at some other ads, we go, okay, I'm going to change my ad just slightly. And I think if I change the ad like this, it's going to increase my conversion, or my click-through rate. So then we go in, we chuck the ad back in, and then we go through the process again. And we see, did that ad improve the conversion rate? Right? So we're getting better and better and iterating over time. So if the click-through rate did go up, but we're not getting conversions, then where do we focus? The data tells us we need to now focus on our conversion rate. Or maybe we did the click-through rate, but maybe our impressions have gone down because the ad was such a big change. So the idea is we learn from the data and then we make changes to our business based on that, okay? So make changes to improve your data point, run the ad for another 7 days, And then we use the data to give direction, okay? And number 7, we repeat this indefinitely. Indefinitely. There is no, this is your business, right? We have to market and advertise indefinitely. It's really important. It's not just a set and forget. We don't just put it on there and walk away. It's a very agile, dynamic environment, and we need to always be trying new things and testing new things. There's a saying that 1% better every day. So we want to continue to operate, iterate, change, get better. But the key thing here, which like I said at the start of it, is we've got to use the data to give us direction because it teaches us what's happening in our business. And now that we know that purchasing funnel, we now need to know where to focus. So we always look at the data and say, well, which part of our business do we need to focus on? Okay. Is this helpful, knowing this, team? Understanding this? Yeah. So the optimization cycle, I want you to remember this. Launch the ad. Wait 7 to 14 days. Use the data we've just talked about the funnel and understanding the way the ads work. Make the changes to improve the data point, right? And then run the ad for another 7 days and see whether that data point moved. That's really, really, really important. Okay? And then we want to repeat that indefinitely. Guys, what have we learned? What have we learned today? What's something that you guys can action right now? I'd love to hear in the chat, in the comments. Okay. All right, a couple of questions have come in. So I might just go through a couple of these questions. I think they're really powerful. So one of them is, it says, if you find a good ad that works good, how long would you run that ad before it gets stale? Okay. So the ad will tell you whether it's stale or not. Okay. So the data is going to tell you what to do or give you direction on where to go. The data doesn't give you the answer, it gives you direction. It's really important, okay? So it's not black and white, it's like gives you where to look. So if the ad is working, the only way you know if it gets stale is if it stops giving you sales. So we can do a breakdown per day to have a look at how it works. And if you find that ad is starting to fizzle out and we're getting less and less and less sales, then that's probably going stale. So that means that, maybe the frequency is going up because it can't find a new audience. Okay, so that can happen, right? It can't find any new people, so the frequency increases. That's a signal that we could see. The second thing is we're starting to see less and less results. So we might see a lower click-through rate. We might see, a higher cost per result because it's really struggling to find that audience. That's when the ad starts to go stale. So those sort of metrics will help you there. Okay. All right, Jordana asked which click-through rate number. Good question, actually, great question. So there is, when you're setting up your columns, there's multiple different click-through rate options in there. The one I'd get you to put in there is actually called outbound click-through rate, is probably better. So if you could do that one. Sorry, Gab, I just got news in that it's not unique click-through rate anymore. It's outbound click-through rate. Gab just put in unique click-through rate. Okay. It's slightly different, yeah. Yeah, I have my own meta ads coach that teaches me this stuff, and he taught me this. Cool. Let's see if we've got any other questions the last few minutes here.
There was a couple at the beginning, Brendan.
Yeah, could you read them out to me, Gab, if that's cool?
Yeah, of course. So we had one from Emmy come in about conversion rate, I'm pretty sure. So what is considered low? What's a conversion rate to aim for?
Or better, always higher. So think of it in numbers. Okay, so if you have 100 people come to you, so a conversion rate is a percentage of 100 visitors, right? So if we think about you've got 100 visitors come to your store, the percentage conversion rate is the percentage of those that actually purchase from you. So if you had 100 come to your store and 1 buys from you, that's a 1% conversion rate. Okay, so that's sort of the starting point. However, conversion rate can be impacted by a couple of different metrics outside of your website's experience. So if you think about, there's a thing called a consideration to purchase sort of phase that people go through. So if I'm going to buy, a new watch or something, right? Watches are typically expensive. So my consideration to purchase is going to be a little bit longer. So I might visit the website, I might look at it, I might browse it, but I'm not ready because it's a big expense. So I'm going to take my time. However, if I was going and buying some whiteboard markers, okay, they're really cheap. I don't need to really look into it. They're absolutely fine. So I'm going to go to the website and buy without any consideration, which means it's $5. I don't really care if it's the wrong thing. I don't really mind if I lose that money, right? Whereas if I'm going to buy a watch, I want to buy the right thing, which means the consideration purchase is longer and a little bit more time to make a decision. So typically the lower average order value and the lower consideration phase, like if it's easier to make a decision and the risk is low, the conversion rate will be high. Okay, so you want to remove risk. If the decision is greater and the risk is higher, then the conversion rate is going to be lower. So there's no real number because it's depending on your business and what you sell. So if it's an easy yes, conversion rate will be through the roof. If it's a product that no one else sells and it's highly in demand, conversion rate will be through the roof. If you own a highly in demand brand, conversion rate will be through the roof. If you own a commoditized product that is sort of medium value that you can't differentiate in your market, you're probably gonna have a low conversion rate. Does that make sense? So we've got to try and work out how do we actually move that around, all right? So there's no one number, but you want it to be above 1% at a minimum, right? Good websites are 5, 6%, 7%. I've seen some other websites, okay? There's other considerations. This is like, I hate these it depends answers. I'm sorry, but it is one of those. There's other considerations around, do you have a high repeat purchase element to your store, right? We've got a customer that has a really high repeat purchase element, but the conversion rate's really high because the site's just an order form. There's like, I need a refill of my nappy bag thing, so I'm going to come back to the store and buy it. So that's not a true conversion rate because they're a repeat customer. So yeah, it's a little bit of a harder one to answer. So my answer is just better every month is what your conversion rate should be. Yeah. Any more, Gab? We might do 2 more if that's cool.
Yeah, easy. We just had one come in from Andrew. I think he was referring to creatives. He asked how to cater to existing customers and how to prospect for new ones.
Yes. So a good way to think about this is if someone saw your ad for the first time, is it going to educate them or nurture them, right? So if someone sees something for the first time, are they going to look and go, oh, that's really interesting, and they learn about it, right? So that's going to attract a brand new person. It's like, hey, here's this thing. This is why it's great. So that's the top of funnel prospecting ad. The second one is making an assumption they already know something about the product. And that's where we come down to creating ads that are like testimonials, features and benefits, comparisons, right? So if someone saw your product, they could instantly recognize it. That's the bottom of funnel. So if you look at your ad and someone has to know something about that product to understand the ad, that's bottom of funnel. If they see your ad and they don't need to know anything about the product to understand the ad, that's top of funnel. Okay, so have a think about that if someone was to see the ad for the first time, they could know exactly what the product was, okay, as opposed to having to understand something about the product beforehand. So if you think about the example we gave, the first top of funnel ad was someone making a coffee, okay, and they're pouring it in there and they're making it, and they could really understand what that was, right? The second ad was a testimonial with a bottle of the coffee there, but we didn't actually say anything about it being coffee. So we made the assumption they already knew what that was. So that means it's going to go to the same people more and more times. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Let's go one more, Gab.
Awesome. So we had one come in from Jordana. It was in regards to the amount spent on an ad. What if it looks like it's spending more? So we talk about if it's not spending enough, then what you need to do. But if it's spending more,
it shouldn't. Look, it will sometimes overspend, right? But it will come back into play. So it may overspend, but what will happen is over time, it will come back to your daily budget. So if it's finding that it's getting results for you, it probably will overspend a little, right? If it's overspending and it not getting results for you, that's probably a different conversation. I'm not really sure why that would happen. But the idea is that it averages itself out over time. So if you look at over a 7-day period and average it out over 7 days, that should match your daily budget. So the idea is that they don't want to cut it off at the 24-hour part. If it feels like it might be able to find something for you, it's going to overspend a little bit to try and get it, and then maybe the next day it might underspend a little bit. So it should level itself out. Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys, this has been heaps of fun. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. So what I'm going to do is we'll keep this recording. We'll upload it into the bootcamp. We'll send some links to the things we talked about. You'll see the screenshot for the columns and everything like that. But hopefully this has helped you unpack the way you think about ads differently. Notice we didn't get into actually going in and optimizing ads because it's the data that gives you the direction that tells you where to focus your time. So hopefully we've got some actions there that you guys can implement. Hopefully it changes your thinking when it comes to optimizing and understanding sort of the process of optimizing ongoing indefinitely. Thank you, team. It's been great to catch up. For those of you in Australia, enjoy the rest of your Friday. For those of you in the rest of the world, have a great weekend, and we will see you all very soon. Thanks again, team. Catch you later.